Hi everyone. In this session, we are going to see about object class, abstract classes, and abstract methods in Java. Come, let's start with the object class. What is object class? Object class is a class which is the parent class of all the classes in Java program. It is the topmost class in Java. It can act as a root of inheritance hierarchy in any Java program, which means if you are creating any object in Java or if you are creating any class in Java, that is inherited from the object class in Java program. That is what the point. And it is a special class. Object defined by Java. Object is a class. Capital O object is a class. For all other classes or subclasses of the object class, which means capital O object is a super class, all other classes of all other classes. Object class is present inside the java.lang package. So already we discussed about java.lang package. It's a predefined package available inside lang package is available inside Java package. Inside a lang, object classes resides. Every class in Java is directly or indirectly derived from object class, right? A reference variable of type object can refer to any object of any other class, right? Which means if you are creating an object, it could be any object of any class that can refer capital O object class. That is what the point. And the object class refer any object whose type is not known. If the object doesn't know which type it is, which means which class it belongs to, that can be referred by capital O object class. That is what. Come, let's see the object class hierarchy. See the object class, which is topmost class of all the classes. All other classes or objects are inherited from the object class. So it is a root of all the classes in Java program. If you create any object or any class, that is inherited from the object class. That is what the point. And now we'll see few methods available in object class. For example, the methods like get class, notify all, wait, equals, toString, or few methods available are offered by the object class. In that, get class, notify all, wait are the final method. As of now, final method is a method which cannot be overridden. So have as it is. If you declare a method as final, you cannot redefine it again. That is like a constant method, constant variable, right? Like a constant, the methods are not allowed to override, or you cannot change the method, that method definition. That is what called as final method. And coming to equals is a method which is compared to object and returns true if the objects are equal, false otherwise. It compares to object and returns true if it is equal, otherwise returns false. ToString is a method which returns a string which contains description of the object of which it is called, which is nothing but ToString is a method which converts your object or any reference to as a string. That is what called as ToString. This method is automatically called when the object is output using println. If you print the object, it is automatically called the ToString method. So if you inside the println, if you are given any object over there, it is calling the ToString method which converts the object as a string and displays it. That is what the point. And many classes override this method, which is ToString method. Doing so allows them to tailor a description specifically for types of objects that they create. That is what few object class methods. We'll see the methods and the description. As I said already, few methods are final. For example, get class, notify all, wait are the methods. Constant method, that's what called as final. So public, you know that access specifier, access modifier. Final is the keyword. You cannot override the get class method. And get class is returning the class type. That is what the return type of this get class is, class type, which is nothing but object, right? So it returns the class object of this object, which means if you're calling the get class method with any object, it returns the name of the class. That is what the thing, right? Next is hash code. So return type is integer. We know that that's returning some number, which is nothing but returns the hash code number of the this object. This object means the object which is calling this method, right? That is what hash code. Coming to equals, as I said already, equals is the method which compare two object and returns string value. Returns boolean true or false. It compares the given object to this object. For example, object dot equals, inside the parameter, inside the parenthesis we are giving another object. So it compares the calling object and the parameter object and returns true or false depending upon the equality. And object clone. So we are having a object cloning in the next few chapter. We will be discussing about object clone. Object clone is nothing but creating copies of an object or creating object copies. That's what's called as clone. So object clone is the method whose return type is object. Access mode is protected. It throws some exception that we will discuss later. So as of now, clone is the method which creates and returns the exact copy of this object. That is what clone. We will discuss object cloning in the next few chapters. And string, toString is the method which converts your object into string. That is what simply I can say, returns the string representation of this object. If you put object dot, if you put a toString method for the object, it converts the object as a string. That is what thing. And notify all are the methods, final methods. Return type is void, public access mode. So it belongs to the multi-threading. Already we know that we discussed about multi-threading in the beginning classes. Each thread is going to be responsible for one specific task. If multiple threads are there, means it is multiple tasks has been performed simultaneously. For each thread can be responsible for one action, right? For triggering that action, I have to wake up the thread. That is what the thing. So wake up a single thread and waiting on this object's monitor. I can say that, for example, if you call the notify method, the single thread has been woke up and it is ready for running. That is what notify. Notify all means it waking up all the threads. If you are having single thread, you can call the notify method. If you are having a number of threads, you can wake up all the threads by using the notify all, right? So waking up or triggering the single thread or all the threads. That is what notify and the notify all. Notify and the notify all. And coming to wait method is final method. It is a constant method. Inside the wait method, I'm having time as a parameter, long time as a parameter. So what happens here is, if one thread is running, others has to wait. So that wait time is specified over there. How long the other threads has to wait to get the what action can be performed, right? So it causes the current thread to wait for a specific milliseconds. That is what the timeout, until the another thread notifies, invokes the notify method or notify all method. So I'm asking the other thread to you have to wait this amount of time until I finish my work. That is what the wait method. So this notify all, wait are the methods used in multi-threading. We'll see there. And finalize is the method. So here it is used to clear up the unused object. So after all the works has been completed by the object, work has been completed, there is no more need of the object. In that case, the object memory is supposed to be revoked. So that is what called as object garbage collection. That is done by this finalize method. So invoked garbage collector before the object is being garbage collector. That means before the object is going to be erased, this finalize method will be called, so that garbage collector will be garbage collection is going to be happen after this finalize method. That is what, these are all the methods available in object classes, and we'll see an example for this. I have this class name is test, public class test. In a public static void main, I'm creating an object for object class. So don't confuse object with the literal name. So here object is the class is the class. So we are having object class and class. So I'm creating object for the object class. Obj is my object for the object class. This is class, this is my reference object, and this object can be refer any object, right? Any object. String is a class which has been instantiated by this value and referred by obj object. That is what happening here. So object can refer any object, right? As I said already, object can refer any object. So here string class has been created and string constructor has been called, and this is the parameter is given for the string class constructor, and it has been instantiated, and it is assigned to obj object. Getting? So object can refer any object in a Java program, right? So thereafter I'm creating class object for accessing the name of the class. So class object C is referring ob and calling obj.class, which means object is having a method called getClass, which returns the name of the class of current object. Current object is obj class name has been fetched by using this getClass function, and that is referred by the class object C, right? That's what. And thereafter I am printing system by calling the SOP. A class of object obj is, the class of obj object is what? String class only. I know that, right? So from the getClass method, it has got the name of the class of obj class. Obj class is string class, which is given to class C, and C dot get name. In a class there is a method called get name, which returns the current object's class name. So current object class name is obj.getClass. Obj.getClass is giving the current object class of obj object, so which is going to be string, right? String. So that is what that string is, a built-in class java.lang.string. That is what the output of this program. This is a kind of program which is confusing you. I changed this program in some other way. See the next example. Forget about the previous example. Have the class A, my own class. Inside the class I'm having one constructor, and constructor I'm printing something SOP. Class A's constructor, and I close the class and opening a new class, public class test, public static void main. I'm creating the object for the class A. I'm for the creating object, and I'm calling the constructor. So instantiating the object by calling the constructor. So OB is the object of class A. Now what I'm doing is I'm creating C1 object which is class object. With that, any object can refer OB class, right? So OB is the object which belongs to class A class, or it is a reference of class A class. With the property of object is a root of all the classes in a Java program, right? So class A also belongs to object class. So class A also inheriting property from the object class. So that with that, OB is the object of class A. With that, I am calling the getClass. GetClass is the method which is defined in an object class. So which is inherited to the class A. So with the object of class A, I am calling the getClass. So that getClass name is referred by class object C1, and thereafter I'm calling C1.getName. With this object C1 is having the name of the OB class. OB class is class A. That is what the output I'm getting. I think you got an idea about the object class. You compare these two programs. So here I'm creating the raw object and assigning to the string class, right? And I'm instantiating with the string class. So here in this example, I'm creating a normal object and calling with this object, the parent class get class function was called and assigned to the class object C1. There I'm getting the get name function was called, and I got the class name of the C1 is class name of the OB. OB's class name is A. So for your ease of understanding, I changed like this. So that's about the object class in Java. Now we'll see abstract class and abstract method in Java. In the OOPS concept, we discussed about abstract class and abstract method. What is abstraction actually? So abstraction is nothing but hiding the internal details and displaying only the essential functionality. That is what called as abstraction. If you are hiding the data and showing only the essential details, that is going to be called as data abstraction, hiding the data. So here with that we are having abstract class. So abstract class is a class which cannot be instantiated, which means you cannot create an object for the abstract class. But it allows you can create subclass from the abstract class. Object cannot be created for the abstract class, but you can be inherit the abstract class, or abstract classes can be subclassed. And in a subclass, the subclass must override abstract methods. So abstract method is a method available in abstract class which is not having any definition. Those abstract methods must be defined or overridden in the subclass. So that's what we discussed. These are all the points already we discussed in the OOPS concepts in the first unit. Now we'll see more detail about abstract class. A class which contains abstract keyword is known as abstract class. And abstract classes may have or may not have the abstract method. It can have normal method as well as abstract method. We know abstract method is a method which doesn't have method body, which doesn't have definition. Then if a class has at least one abstract method, then that class must be declared as an abstract class. If the class is having one abstract method, that class must be called as abstract class. If the class is declared as abstract, it cannot be instantiated, as I already said. And to use abstract class, we have to inherit it. Otherwise, abstract classes may be inherited, may be subclassed. In the subclass, the abstract methods must be overridden or redefined or implemented. If it was inherited, we have to implement the abstract methods. Abstract method is a method which doesn't have any definition. Method body is nothing, right? So the abstract method has to be implemented in the subclass. This is the syntax for defining for declaring the abstract method: abstract keyword, return type, function name. Similarly, for abstract class, the syntax must be abstract keyword followed by class keyword and the class name. Let's see an example. This is the example for the abstract class. So modifier, that is public, private, protected, that modifier, abstract keyword, class keyword and the class name. So this class is an abstract class. This abstract class can have normal method and as well as abstract method. And for abstract method, what is the syntax? Abstract keyword, return type and the method name. Only method name, no body. This method must be implemented in the subclass. So here modifier, class keyword, child class or subclass extends the base class name, and here the abstract method supposed to be implemented or defined or overridden. That's what about the syntax of the abstract class. Come, let's see more about abstract method. Abstract, already I said that abstract method is the method which doesn't have method body, that must be defined in the subclass. That is what already we discussed. Now we'll see a method is declared as abstract and doesn't have implementation is known as abstract method. A single line statement for abstract method. The method body will be defined in its subclass. The method body will be defined in its subclass. Abstract method can never be final or static. If you don't know about final, I'll tell you what is final and what is static. Static already we discussed, right? If you're declaring a method as static, it is going to be called straight away with the class name, automatically initialized. No need of object created for needed for calling this static method. And coming to final method, or for calling the static method, object is not necessary. That is what the point. And final method is a method which cannot be overridden. You cannot change the method definition, so that it is against the property of abstract, right? So that it should not be final, it should not be static. So abstract method should not be final, should not be static. Any class that extends the abstract class must implement all the abstract methods. So we know that abstract method doesn't have definition, right? So that method must be, if any class is extending the abstract class, that child class must implement all the methods. That's about the abstract method. And abstract method is declared without implementation. That is what without method body. Only in abstract class contain abstract method. That is, if you are having abstract method, that should be present only in abstract class. But abstract class can have abstract method and normal method. If the class is having abstract method, that class is called as abstract class. Sorry. That is what about the abstract method. So with that we have an idea of abstract class is the class which must be subclassed. Abstract class is a class, it must have at least one abstract method. Abstract method doesn't have definition. The definition is implemented in the subclass. So the abstract class should not be final or static, or the method body is defined in the subclass. So these are all the important points about the abstract class and the abstract method. Okay, and there is a question, why the abstract class is needed? Why we have to have this abstract class? In some cases we need a default functionality. That should be the skeleton. In some projects and application, this must be your function name, this must be your hierarchy. Like that we are having some default functionality. And we can have a template also. For developing any application, we are providing a skeleton, that is what called as template. And code reusability. The codes can be the function name is common, but it has been redefined depending upon the need of the subclass. That is what the default functionality, template, and code reusability. And of course, if you are declaring a method as an abstract method in abstract class, it separates a method definition and class. So class is somewhere in abstract class, but method is defined in subclass. And dynamic method resolution. At runtime only, which method is going to be called or which method is going to be implemented is decided. And loose coupling. Loose coupling means there is less dependency between the method and the class, because the method was defined in the subclass, but it belongs to the base class, base abstract class. So these are all the points. In some point we have this kind of requirement if that is there. So with that, with this requirement, we can go for the abstract class and abstract method. This is syntax already we have seen. Modifier, abstract keyword class name, your normal variables and methods, and as well as abstract method. abstract keyword, method name, return type, method name. A class is over, base class is over, abstract class is over, and in a child class, the base class, that is abstract class, is extended and the abstract method is implemented in the child class. Now let's see example. So these are all the rules for abstract class. Abstract class must be declared with the abstract keyword. The abstract class can have abstract method and normal method. It cannot be instantiated, it cannot create an object. It can have final methods, which abstract class can have final method, but a class can have final method, but abstract method should not be final, right? It can have constructor and static methods. A class can have normal method and abstract method, is what the thing. These are all the rules of abstract class. What all we have seen, same will summarized here. Abstract classes are not interfaces, because in interface there is no implementation. But in abstract class, I can have normal method, right? So for normal method, I can have implementation. I can have the definition. In an abstract class may have concrete. Concrete means complete methods, normal methods. An abstract class may or may not have abstract method. It can have abstract method or may not have abstract method, right? If it is have at least one abstract method, it must be declared as abstract class. Abstract classes can have constructors, member variables, normal methods. That is, it can have its own constructor, it can have a normal variable and the normal method. That is non-abstract method. Abstract class is never instantiated. Object cannot be created. It is always subclassed. Reference of an abstract class can point object of its subclass, thereby achieving runtime polymorphism. Which means here, if you are creating object for abstract class, that will be instantiated with the derived class object. Derived class. You can create an object. For example, base class is S, derived class is B. So object of the abstract class can be instantiated with the derived class constructor. That is what the point here. This is what called runtime polymorphism. For a design purpose, a class can be declared as an abstract even if doesn't have any abstract method. That is what the point. A class, abstract class can have, may have or may not have the abstract method. But if it is having at least one abstract method, it must be abstract class, right? A derived class from abstract class must implement all the abstract methods that are derived in that are declared in the parent class. If a child does not implement all the abstract method of a parent class, then the child class must be declared as abstract. So in a grandchild class, it can implement all the methods of parent class and the grandparent class. Getting in a multi-level inheritance, grandparent, parent, child, grandparent and parent are abstract means child class can implement all the methods. That is what the point. So these are all the rules for the abstract class. We'll see an example.